Hello, I would like to show you the game Candy Crisis. And Candy Crisis is a family game. It's a card game, and it's made to introduce a little bit more strategic thinking and a little bit more um, brains to otherwise normal family style games. And just to start with the theme, candy monsters have attacked the kitchen. That happens sometimes, and you need to gather the best collection of candy monsters before the parents get home. And you do that by giving them candy to lure them onto your board. Um, so that's how it goes. And if you lure them the right candy in, you'll get a nice set of bonuses and will win the game. Um, Let me just start you by showing you the different cards. So there are 5 different kinds of candy monsters in the game. We have lollipop monsters, we have chocolate monsters, we have gobstopper monsters, candy floss monsters, and licorice monsters. And as you can see on each card, I'll just move over there so we can see a little clearer. Um, there are different features. There's a picture in the middle, and then there are 3 icons at the top. So the middle one is the point value, so that will give you more points at the end of the game if you get that card to your board. They go from 1 to 5, so there's a lot of threes here and 2 fives. Then there are the type of candy that's in the pentagon here, and then there's the weapon they picked up in the kitchen to the right. At the bottom of the card, you would see some cubes. Those are the candy cubes that these monsters require in order to be lured to your board. So obviously, it's a little harder to lure in a candy floss monster with a value of 5 than it is to lure in this lollipop monster with only a value of 3. So different kinds of colors go on different kinds of boards. Um, and it simply goes in terms of gameplay that let me just flip these over again. And there, like this. In terms of gameplay, the first round will feature 1 card, like this. And every player will have 3 cubes in their hand. And as you can see, these will be secrets. So in a physical copy of the game, there would be um, a little screen you can hide your cubes behind. And then players simply takes putting either cubes on a card or saying pass. If you pass, you leave it up to the rest to deal with the card or also say pass. It's a 2 to 5 player game, so in this case, set it up for 2 players, but you can easily play it 5 people, and it's actually even more fun. So let's say in this case, I put in a cube, I put it on the candy monster. To show that I'm trying to get that one. It still needs a green and a yellow, and the one that puts the last cube on the card will get the card moved to their board. Um, if this other guy says pass, then the next turn comes around. We will add another card to the track, and you would even remove this card if it didn't get a cube on it. So the cards without cubes will disappear. Now there's also the licorice monster to work with, and you can start by putting different cubes on it. Let's say we have some different stuff here. There's one on the any one. I can add this one. Maybe we are putting this one there. Um, the first one to say pass will get an extra cube next round, and each round you get 3 more cubes to work with. And then you go back and forth, and let's say we put on the last cube here. I'm not gonna put it out. Let's say these 3 fit. There's a blue one, there's a gray one, and let's say this was also gray. Then this card is mine. I can take it. I'll just remove the candy cubes, put them back in the bag, and put it somewhere on my board. And as you can see, there are different places you can put cards. So bonuses are different depending on what cards you put. So here you would get an extra bonus of 2 points if you put a 1. This is a 5, so that may be a bad idea. Here you get 2 extra points if it's not um, a lollipop, so that might be a good idea. Over here, this one gets extra 5 points if the cards next to it has a frying pan, and the card right of it has a spatula. So, and this one actually has a frying pan, so I could consider putting it there. This one will get extra points if there's a candy floss, and this one will simply be ×2. So that's also pretty cool when you have a 5. And then if you look to the right here, I'll just zoom in. At the end of the game, there are bonuses. So if I have 3 of a kind, so let's say 3 licorice cards on here. If I have all the different kinds of weapons, so frying pans and so forth, and if I do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in that order, I get plus 15 points. So there's a lot of points together at the end of the game. And then you simply dodge it out, as there will be a lot of battle in the middle to figure out, how do I get these different ones, and how do they fit with my board, and what do the other guys want, and so forth. And at the end of the 6th round, the game ends. That's where it is. One more rule to explain, though, is that we have an opportunity always to reserve a card. So let's say this one pops up. I don't really have the cubes, but I'm gambling that I'll get them later. I have the opportunity to reserve a card. Then I can move a card in front of me. You can always only reserve one card at a time, and you can only reserve cards that doesn't have cubes on them. So that you can do, it will cost you 2 cubes. So you need 2 cubes in your hand. Let's just say I had these 2. Then I would have to throw them out in order to reserve a card. So it's costly, and it's a gamble, because if you don't get to move it to your board before the game ends, it will be 5 minus points. So you need to do that. So it's a little bit of a gamble, but it also plays well with the tactics, because it means that you have some place to put cubes without the other guys being able to put cubes on them as well, and that gives you an edge, because you can then delay your actions a little bit in the rounds, and maybe some of the other guys have said pass, and you have a better chance of getting the cards you want. So hopefully this is a meaningful explanation, and you will have a better understanding of how the game works. It's a lot of fun with families. You can play it down to 8 years old, and there's a lot of nice tactics. And when do I gamble? When do I leave 2 blue out? Maybe I can then have the other 2 blue for later, and so forth. And there's plenty of thoughts to be made on that. So that's Candy Crisis.